It doesn't. Good or bad doesn't exist. It doesn't freaking matter. Because I could be a good man to this woman, and I could be trash to this woman. It depends on what they need, and that's my
Come on, Mr. Let Go. We know what good and bad is, bro. Come on.
It doesn't matter is what I'm saying.
Welcome back to Ran-DomU. It's go time.
Optimus Maximize!
You ever been around someone who just talks so much that they never realize how much they contradict themselves on a daily basis? Sort of like their arguments are constantly like two asteroids that are just colliding together in space, making just a huge mess of everything, causing meteor showers that are going to mess around and hit somebody's shed, homes, cars, beyond hell damage type of stuff. You know, that. Constantly in these like manosphere forums or on these panels where they talk about these relationship things and they beat the same arguments into the ground over and over and over and over again. It's like some of these guys don't realize some of the nonsense they have said on so many of their other streams that they just don't realize how ridiculous they sound sometimes. And then they'll invite another guy into the panel and then they wonder where their energy is coming from. It's because it's like, hey man, I've been listening to you talk for a while and I don't think you realize how stupid you sound. But you want to be the first person that calls everybody else stupid. You have so many guys that talk tough, hit like Jane. And not G.I. Jane, Big Jane, excuse my language. But still, that version of Jane, the weak one. Like Mary Jane. She couldn't fight. She can sneak around, but not fight. But what I have to admit is apparently I have some type of sick addiction to watching these arguments take place over and over again because, quite frankly, I just find them fascinating to listen to people run. Verbally. But I guess it beats the stuff you see on My Strange Addiction, like drinking pig's blood or like slowly ripping off your hangnails and like tearing out your own hair, stuff like that, or like drinking mayonnaise, gross stuff. But back to the people who deflect. It's like those people who talk tough offset or before the meeting takes place and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell the managers exactly what's going on up in this thing. And as soon as they give them the opportunity and give them the floor, it's like, hey, does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to speak on the matter? They're just quiet. Got nothing to say. Can't think of their argument anymore. Cat got your tongue? Basic things like that. Nobody wants to fight back. When they usually talk tough, they're weak. Just like bullies in high school or elementary school, whatever. They're just people that you need to just bring down a notch. Match them with their own energy, throw them in the trash can, give them a swirly with a nice Rochambeau, the nice swift kick to the balls. Or you just surprise them with some of that I'm about that life type of energy. Even if you're not. Because if you give enough of that energy, you might scare them off. Now, in this episode on the Lapeef Network, there's this guy named R-Dubs who came with some rather stoic energy against Mr. Let Go, a guy who really likes to say a lot of ridiculous things out there. But he never seems to have any type of real argument back.
Good enough.
Well, are you a good dude? No, don't bullshit.
No.
You know if you're a good man or not.
I don't believe in saying something about myself. Somebody else can say that about me because everything is in the eye of the beholder. So I don't run around saying I'm a good man. Because I don't like women saying I'm a good woman because you can't say you're a good woman. It's what the environment is saying about you.
But see, that's nonsense. So perception is reality for you. Like, that is just what it is. Nothing about what you actually value yourself because, yeah, I feel like, if you're so humble to where it's like I can't give myself praise or I don't want to speak highly upon myself. If you're so gracious and humble, then why can't you just say, yes, I'm a good person? People not being able to answer a yes or no question is a big pet peeve for me. But I have to understand that I can't wrap my mind around the fact that they have this infinity long moral high road that they live on.
Saying about you.
I disagree. I disagree because that would mean that you don't know what you bring to the table.
Everybody has something that they need. So bringing to the table is also some bullshit because different people need different things. So you don't know what you bring to the table that is valuable to them.
Okay, let's make it simple. Let's make it simple because you want to
know what you bring to the table. But
Okay, since really, I mean, I can't stand it. So he wants to say that it's such bullshit that they even bring this up, but they have numerous talking points about what does she bring to the table. Here, what do you bring to the table? Amira talks. What she brings to the table. More panels on the Lapeef Network. Men don't feel like women bring enough to the table. Clips from past episodes. Steve Harvey says men should bring everything to the table. They're always talking about bringing something to the table, but he wants to act like it's nonsense. Oh yeah, now that he's getting called out on his BS, now this argument is, no, we don't talk about that. I'm not into all that. Man, whatever, dog. Clowns.
But it might not be. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, bro. Let's make it simple. Let's make it simple since you
Well,
want
what I bring to the table does not make me good, depending on what the person needs from me, is what I'm saying.
So you telling me you don't know what good or bad is?
It doesn't. Good or bad doesn't exist. It doesn't freaking matter, because I could be a. It doesn't. Good or bad doesn't exist. It doesn't freaking matter, because I could be a good man to this woman and I could be trash to this woman. It depends on what they need, and that's my.
Come on, Mr. Let Go. We know what good and bad is, bro. Come on.
It doesn't matter, is what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter because you don't have anything else to say. Because you can't answer the simple question of, are you a good person, yes or no? You have nothing else to say. You can't rebuttal anything back towards that. You don't know what good or bad is? I mean, it doesn't matter because you can't develop an opinion that matters.
But what's your point, Ricky?
When we're building a community, when we're building a society and a community, good and bad matter.
Hold up.
We need a spectrum.
But let's simplify it. Let's simplify it. Do you consider yourself a high value man?
I don't like all this red pill bullshit, but I'll just say yes for the record.
Oh, okay, got you.
It's red pill bullshit. But
Okay, I got you. It's not even red pill. It's simple. This is simple, right?
Okay, so he also apparently doesn't talk high value men, but it's on their network and he's on these panels. Oh, look at the highlight right there. He's right there. Mr. Let Go. If your girl's on a yacht with a high value man, did she sleep on her way? Yeah. On her, golly, I can't even speak, but still, man, like, dude. These liars, man. What is a high value woman? I know that was 2 years ago, but they did talk about this, and he was still on the network. Act like you're not part of these conversations. High value men should only be determined by his integrity. Another episode. I mean, come on, man. Anton tells Siobhan high value men standards for women should be through the roof and nothing less. 9 months ago. That's not that long ago. Been on the panel. Well, he wasn't there that night. Nah, it looks like he was missing, but he could have chimed in. Who knows? But they talk about this stuff. It's just nonsense. They don't want to act like they don't. Excuse me. Him.
Right. What I want to ask you next is, if you have a wife, if you chose a wife, are you able to provide for her?
yes,
Are you going to protect her?
yes,
Okay. And we already know you believe that you're going to lead the stable, correct?
yes.
Okay. So, why aren't you married?
I have not found a woman that is right for me yet. But look at this. There's plenty of good women out here. So you said two things. So you kind of like alluded to something where it's not good women out here, not a lot of good women out here. I just haven't found the woman, or I may have found the woman. But the bottom line is, it's all about finding the right person, because it's millions of women, millions of men.
Yo, he would absolutely flay a woman for saying this nonsense. And honestly, not that it's really nonsense, but he would still flay the woman for saying this. I really don't need to do the scrolling on how many episodes they done had on why a woman isn't married. I really don't need to do that. That list gets long.
Millions of men. So for us as men and women to say there is not this out there, it's some bullshit, because we live in our particular cities and states, right? It might be somebody that lives in another state that we ain't met yet. But to sit here and say it ain't no good men or it ain't no good woman, that's some dumb shit. And I'm not saying you're saying that, but that's why I wanted to jump in to try to get an understanding of what you're trying to say.
But he is saying that. Why else would you bring it up like that? That's one of those with all due respect arguments. Like, with all due respect, you smell like ass. I really don't want to say what you're saying is BS, because I can sense your energy right now, and I really don't want that smoke. So I'm going to deflect and walk around it and act like I'm not addressing you, because now it's a generalized, broad statement now.
Because there are great women, there are great men. If we still single, We just ain't met them yet. But it doesn't mean that they're not out there yet. That's all I'm saying.
I got a question.
I'm just trying to get a better understanding of what you're saying in evolving to that, because I was a little confused by what you were saying, Rick.
It's cool. But again, what I'm asking is, and the last question I got to ask you is, are you looking to be married?
Yes.
So why aren't you again?
Because I have not found the woman to marry yet. I just said that.
So you're not looking?
Okay, I'm just going to stay quiet. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yes, you do, because you talk about it on so many of your episodes. He's saying you're not looking because obviously if there's good women out there, then you would be married because you could find that if they're a good woman. Because if it was a woman, if there's good men out there, she's supposed to just settle for the good man, regardless of all these extra things that you're looking for, like you were just talking about looking for in a woman. If a woman was to say that, all of a sudden it's an issue. But why can't you settle, but they have to settle? Just what's up with the double standard? And I think our Dubs is just sick and tired of the double standard. Some people just be coming on here just don't want to hear that nonsense. It's just the most tiring talking point of the last 2 years. What does a woman bring to the table? But hardly ever does anyone ever ask, hey bruh, what do you bring to the table? Now look, the last thing I want to do is sound like Derek Jackson, but I do get tired of hearing how men are supposedly, we all are just the most accountable and responsible human beings who are all meant to lead. I'm sorry, I'm just not following some of you dudes. I'm not, in anything. They just always act like a woman should never question a man's leadership. Like, why not? I've seen you make very questionable decisions.
I got a question. Lego, you said there's good women that you know, which is great, but they're not good enough for you to marry. So how are they good?
Well, that's the reason why I pulled away from the whole good situation, because it's good and then it's good enough. Because there's a lot of good women, but you ain't just going to marry a woman simply because she's a good woman. She has to fit your She has to fit your life, right? Like, for example, as an example, say I meet a good woman who got 3 kids. I don't want that. So that woman isn't for me. It might be a good woman who is fat. She isn't for me. It might be a good woman that is this or that is that. Or a good woman that lives way the fuck in on the West Coast, and she doesn't want to move to the East Coast. So she can be a great woman, but she, because of her career or her life or her family dynamic, she don't plan on moving from LA. She's not for me. So that's just 3 examples.
Yep. I got you. I get
good, but not good for me.
I got you.
Now look, I'm very glad that he gave examples. But again, if this was a woman, these would be excuses. Now look, yes, I know modern women do the exact same thing, but I'm trying to come at this from a different perspective, because all I've heard for the last couple of years is the other argument.
And I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. You sound like a female because good is not enough for you.
You can say whatever you want to say, but
I did. I said what I wanted to say.
Okay, what you said just sounds stupid.
Yeah, it sounds stupid to you because it applies to you.
Awesome. What's your point? What is your point of saying that?
I made it already.
The point
you didn't make a point. That's the reason why I interrupted you, because your whole entire thesis.
No, it wasn't. The reason you interrupted me because you didn't have a rebuttal.
I'm trying to find out what you're talking about.
The reason you interrupted me because you didn't have a rebuttal.
No, I interrupted you to get understanding.
Please move on. I don't argue with fools. Let's keep it going.
I was gonna say that maybe it's not good. A good woman. It's just you haven't found a wife. Because
that's my point.
Good lady, or that's what you're saying. Doesn't mean she's white.
And that is my point.
So that caters to what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that there's not a lot of wives out there.
No, it's not. Hold on.
No,
my point is there are a lot of wives, but they are not suitable for you. Just because a woman is a wife does not, like Trigger Mike's wife versus my ex-wife or somebody else's Ricky's wife. They're 2 different people. Trigger Mike cannot switch wives with Ricky's wife. They're two different people. One may look at one woman like, no, she's not for me. But she is a wife because she's somebody's wife now. So that's an example right there.
I think.
Truth is, I pretty much agree with all that. Only problem with that statement is, for about 2 years, y'all been promoting a double standard.
Because I'm sorry, Chris, real quick.
You good? Go ahead.
Men are similar, right? So let's say all of the men on here that are married are leaders, right? I'm not y'all should be swapping wives. But the same.
But I bet if they did, they wouldn't see the other woman as their wife.
No, listen to this. If Trigger Mike was looking for a specific wife, right? The qualities that most of these guys want in a wife, I'm pretty sure the wife that they chose, we're all alike. I meet wives like myself all the time. So I cannot say that we cannot swap and we would have, not saying we would know everything about the person, but it would be probably, it could happen, meaning because we're given the same qualities that these men are looking for.
But Lady Di, I just want to say this. If everybody just turned single, right? Everybody divorced their person and everybody up here got with the person that divorced, they would not marry the person that the person divorced. They wouldn't. And that's what I'm saying, because each person has to be suitable to you. It wouldn't happen. If you got divorced, Trigger Mike got divorced, I would not marry you for whatever reason. It wouldn't happen because people are people. You might not like me, I might not like you. Like, we can't just find somebody that is wife material and say, I want to be with them. Because they got to be suitable to your life. We live in different states. There's a lot of different variables.
Gosh, why does it feel like the goalpost has been moved from out of the stadium to in orbit?
This is
I think we overcomplicate stuff too. I think just us as a people, we overcomplicate things that shouldn't be as complicated as we make them. I think y'all are kind of saying the same thing. I think foundationally, the foundation is messed up. Like the culture, our culture and society doesn't prioritize values, morals, and character. Like, I think that's where we mess up, because there's no culture that actually promotes that actually makes it cool, that actually makes it something we should aspire for. Like, married couples aren't popping like that. They're not on all the pages getting all the attention. They get a little attention, but they don't get the volatility of like millions of eyes and people talking and all the up flare of all that stuff. That stuff isn't cool. We gotta make it.
He doesn't really say much for the rest of the video. It's about 35-40 seconds of him just talking about it's straight away from the point where it started. But my thing is, the only problem I have with these channels and some of these networks and whatnot is that these people try to sell you courses. Like, they literally try to take your money. They don't have any credentials. They don't really have the educational background to support the things that they're trying to coach you on. They sometimes promote a lifestyle that they absolutely do not live. And they're usually extremely sensitive and astronomically hypocritical in the messages that they usually display. But once again, this has been Mike Talk. I appreciate you tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be hollering back at you. Peace.